Welcome to the Tales from the Shark Tank podcast, your new pod for everything Wilmington Sharks. I'm your host, Lance Williams. In this inaugural episode, I'm joined by second-year Shark and Wright State University left-handed pitcher Wes Earles. Wes, how you doing?
Doing well, Lance. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. First episode of this podcast. Get to tell the voices behind the Shark Tank and all these players, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of voices, definitely. I think, I'm honored to be here as your first guest because I love this kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that go on here that people don't know about that it's cool to kind of give them an inside look, like what goes on kind of behind the scenes or on the day-to-day, which I'm excited, man.
And I have some expectations for you. I asked your college teammate, Boston Smith, I was like, hey, I'm doing a podcast with Wes. What should I know? And he said he's probably the best guy you could do a podcast with. So I'm excited for what we can get into.
Yeah, man, I love to talk. I did a podcast actually at school. I was a guest on I think it was called like the Athletic Approach, and I had a great time. Like this kind of stuff is so cool because I think there's a lot of things like we're people. We play baseball at a high level or whatnot, but like we're just like anybody else. There's nothing special about us. Like we can just throw a ball, hit a ball, and I think it's cool to kind of knock down that wall, whatever it is, and just kind of just talk.
And you mentioned you did a podcast. You said you have some other on-air experience. Can you speak on that as well?
I mean, I know when I was in middle school, I like announced our middle school football games, which was fun because it was like I was the live guy who did like the PA and like ball carrier brought down and all that stuff, which I think I've never had a problem talking, especially in front of people. I think it's really fun, and I think that, you can kind of make an experience a little bit better for everybody else, which, I don't know, I've always had fun doing.
Well, there you go. So it should be a fun podcast. And so you're a second-year Shark. You've had a long journey. You're from Ohio, started at Wright State, 2 years JUCO, then back to Wright State these past couple of years. How did you end up in Wilmington last season?
Honestly, so we had a coach at Wright State. His name was Nate Metzger, and we've sent a lot of people here before. My roommate, Zane Harris, played here, and I think we've had a couple others, and he just kind of asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to go play for the Wilmington Sharks? And I was like, where's that? And he said, it's on the beach in North Carolina. And I was like, absolutely. Like, it was a no-brainer. And then immediately when I got down here, saw the field, saw the coach, saw the teammates, everything, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good summer. So I had a lot of fun last year.
And last year you pitched in the Pettit Cup Championship. What was that like?
It was amazing. It just the atmosphere here at the Shark Tank is second to none. You spend, like, our dugout is so close to a lot of the fans, and so throughout the course of the summer, you have the fans that come to every game, and like they get to know you get to know them. Just the kids that constantly come back, like it's that stuff is worth more to me than playing the game. And so being able to bring a championship like opportunity back here and play for the Pettit Cup at home and be able to pitch in it and do well was super cool. Like my host family, I got really, really close with them. I'm with the same ones this year, and they've brought me in with open arms and accepted me like I was one of their family. And just being able to do that in front of them and seeing their reaction, it was just something I'll never forget, and something that I'll probably never be able to do again, because it was just like it's one of the highlights of my baseball career, to be honest with you.
So had you ever been to Wilmington or North Carolina at all before this?
I've been to the Outer Banks when I was 12-ish, 13-ish, with a family, and it was awesome. Like, I love the coast. I love the East Coast. Played a lot in South Carolina, but I'd never been to Wilmington specifically, and it's like I always look forward to coming down here.
And then, so obviously baseball, the summer baseball season is such a grind, just every day basically. You're at home or on the road, long travel. But when you do have free time, what is it in this area that you like to do?
So like I said, my host family and I, we're super close. And so I like to spend time with them a lot. They have a grandson. His name's Braden, and him and I are super, super close. So he plays a lot of baseball as well. So if I have an off day and he has a game, then I always like to go to his games. We like to go fishing a lot. Yesterday, actually, on our off day, he took me out fishing, and I went and watched him play, which was just, super fun because, I get more out of that, I think, than he does because he's such a great kid, and that family is just. I'm so thankful for that family, and anytime I get to spend with them, like the way of life down here compared to where I live is so different. Like you get to go on the river, you get to go to the ocean, you get to do all these things, and they love being able to do those things with me, and I love being able to tag along. So I'd say fishing, obviously, and I like to play some golf down here. It's always a good time.
And I know you said like last week you told me that you hadn't gone saltwater fishing before. Have you still not done that?
Yesterday was the first time I ever went, and it was different. Like I remember we just put like little shrimp on, and the first fish that took, like it fought and it hit that bait like it was a 10-pound bass, and I pulled it up and it was just a little itty bitty pinfish. And I was like, I don't know if they got to be stronger because like the currents in the water or whatnot, but like that little fish fought. Like I was like big fish, and it came up and it was like a little bait fish.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't even have enough cred to be out here doing this right now.
Yeah, and those pinfish, you gotta be careful. Like, they're kind of course they have the name pins, so you gotta avoid the spines. And
Yeah, I didn't.
With freshwater fishing, you don't really have to deal with being kind of poked as much unless it's really like a catfish
or a bluegill. Like bluegill and pinfish are kind of like freshwater saltwater comparison in my opinion. And yeah, like I hate catching bluegill just because of that, because they have all them spines on the back of them. And same thing with pinfish, and they're such little fish too, but it hurts. Like I don't care who you are, and that's why I like to just catch bass and all that kind of stuff. You just put your finger in their mouth and get them off. But it was fun, man. I would like to go deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool because it's a totally different world, and I just would love to be out there and do that.
Did you catch any other fish than just pinfish?
We caught pinfish. My little host brother, man, like he caught a lot of fish. Like he's an angler. He's not even a fisherman. He's an angler, and he caught a sea bass. He caught. He had a snapper on, but as soon as it got up to the surface of the water, it got off. It wasn't a very big one. He caught a puffer fish, which was really cool. I'd never seen one. They got 2 buck teeth on them, and like he scratched its belly and it blew up, which is cool. I caught a couple croaker. One was a pretty good sized one, and this was all just off their dock. They have a little place on the waterway in Topsail, and it was cool. Like just all 10 feet off the dock, all these different fish down there. He was cast netting. We were catching shrimp and mullet and throwing them on the hook and putting them out there. It was a good time.
And then we're, of course, the Wilmington Sharks. So I know Jack Rothenhausler, he's gone shark fishing, and I think I've heard other players talk about that. So have you not gotten to do that yet?
No, I have not. And, like, I like to fish, and I like, being around water, but I have, like, the utmost respect for water and, like, what lives in it. And I'm not, like, I'll go swim in the ocean, but I'm very aware of what is out there. And I think it would be really cool to kind of fish for a shark specifically, just to, I don't know, like it's something that could hurt you, and like I would get a thrill from catching it. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, it's kind of on your level, and yeah, you think the fight is strong with a pinfish.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Shark. Yeah,
I couldn't imagine. Like Jack caught that one. It was like, what did he say? It was like 6-7 feet long.
I'm not sure.
I saw a video of it, and it was big enough that I didn't want no problems with it. Like. I remember I was fishing over here in Greenfield Lake right behind the stadium last summer, and I saw an alligator that pretty much sealed the deal that I'd never get in any freshwater here. Absolutely not. No, thank you.
Well, yeah, I'm a Florida guy, so freshwater, unless it's a crystal clear spring, you're not touching that. And I was kind of surprised to see that gators were up this far north as well.
Yeah, me too. Like I had no idea. Like I'm from Ohio, so we definitely don't have any alligators or anything like that. And I was walking up to the dock, and there was a sign that says there are alligators here. And I was like, are you serious? And lo and behold, 10 minutes later, this gator just swam out from right under the dock and, just went on its way. But seeing how big that thing was and seeing just the thing that was crazy to me was like when he was swimming, how the water was just parting where he was. I was like, man, I don't want nothing to do with that. Like, zero, nothing to do with it. And it was like my jaw was on the floor because I've never seen an alligator that wasn't, like, in an aquarium or in a zoo, and that thing was like as wild as it gets. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was huge too, huge. I'd sound ignorant trying to put a measurement on it, but it was bigger than I was, and that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, I think they don't stop growing. I think it's just kind of until they just perish that they're growing. They get pretty big.
Yeah, this one was big. This one was huge. I saw another one last week up there fishing in the same spot. It wasn't that big one. It was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 foot one, but he was just sitting there watching where I was fishing, and I'm assuming he was hoping something bit so he could chase my fish down, and it was just cool. Like, that's National Geographic in real life that you're watching, and it's so neat. I love nature and just watching it. It's good stuff.
And then you said you love nature, fishing. You do that in Ohio. Is there anything else outdoorsy that you like to do?
I like to walk. I like to walk a lot outside, and like, I think that's why I like being here so much, because you can go on walks on the beach. You can just walk around Greenfield Lake, and you can see just a lot of different wildlife that you don't see in Ohio. You know, I hunt a little bit. Like, I wouldn't call myself a hunter. I've been hunting. I've killed a turkey. I've killed, some doves, some pheasants, some stuff like that. Deer hunting is something I would like to get into, because we have some pretty good sized deer in Ohio, and I just like being out in the woods. Like, I say that, and I probably should do it a little bit more, because whenever I do it, I'm like, man, why don't you do this more often, But I think as I have more free time going forward, that is definitely something that I will be taking more part of, because it's just so cool. Like, there's a world out there that people just don't get to see a lot,
Yeah, I mean, with baseball, that's such a big part of your life, and everyone, they have that major commitment that they have, but then just getting out in the wild, just being out there with nature is really something. And I know Rees Sabo, the new assistant, I know he's an Ohio guy as well, and I think he hunts as well.
Yeah, I mean, he wears a lot of camo, which, doesn't mean anything, because, I don't know. He's Zabe Dog's a character, that's for sure. We like to give him a lot of junk, just because he's just a spectacle to look at. But he, I think he has hunted. I'm not sure what all he hunts for specifically, but I know up there where he lives, there's a lot of good deer and stuff up that way. He's from Cleveland, I think, or that area. And yeah, I mean, he says he does, but
yeah, I think he deer hunts. And you talk about Sabo being a character, and also Austin Skipper. Those two guys were both your teammates last year.
Zabo didn't play last year.
Sabo was, but he was a former Shark.
Former Shark.
Skipper was your teammate. So
Skipper was my teammate.
What's it like having those guys kind of with an authoritative role this time?
It's crazy, because, like, at Wright State, so my freshman year, there was a senior shortstop. His name is Chase Sloan, and he now is the associate head coach at Wright State. Like, this guy's baseball IQ is through the roof, and so they brought him onto the coaching staff. And so I kind of went through that my first year back at Wright State last year, and it was weird because, yeah, I obviously played with this guy, but like you said, he is in a position of authority over me. And the first time I called him coach, he was like, don't ever call me that again. Like, don't do that. And so, like, it's cool because, like, I don't know, like, I don't really think too much of it, He's a hitting guy specifically, so he didn't have too much to do with me, But, like, Skipper's a clown. Like, he's just hysterical. He's a funny dude. Anything he says, you just got to listen to it, because there's probably a punchline coming. And I will say, like, player Skipper and coach Skipper are two different, because, like, he's smart. Like, he knows the game of baseball. He knows, like, he has a lot of situational awareness. And he's kind of, like, really took this role and kind of ran with it. I mean, sorry, Skip, but you're doing a lot better than I thought you were going to do, you know what I mean? And his communication with the pitchers is really good. Like, a lot of times, just coaches in general kind of don't really think about, the proper time to warm up, especially if you're a bullpen guy. And Skipper will come up to you in the third or fourth inning and be like, hey, plan is for you to have the seventh, so start doing what you need to do, which is just little things like that go a long way. And, yeah, Skipper's a fun guy to be around at the park, whether he's a coach or a player.
And then Russ Burrows, the manager, former left-handed pitcher as well. What's your relationship like with him?
Salt and Pep's a good dude. When I came here last year, I had no idea what to expect because, like, I played summer ball in college, but I never went somewhere and played summer ball to where, like, your host family and the team are really the only people that you're going to interact with. Like, I played in my hometown, so I'd go to games, but then I'd have my friends, my family there, and it was still, like, home. But down here, it was like, man, if I don't like these people, if, like, anything, like, goes awry or anything like that, like, I'm really lonesome. And I was just really thankful that, like, Russ is not only a good coach, but, like, he, in the short time he has you here, he is focused on developing you. Whether it's a big step or a baby step, like, if you ask him for anything, like, pitcher specifically, like, hey, will you help me on a grip? Hey, will you help me on this or that? Like, he will go out of his way to help you because he really does care about getting guys to the next level. And, whether he has a major role in it or a minor role in it, he's gonna do what he can. And that's all you can really ask for. Because in the same way, like, he likes to have fun with us too. Like, we can cut up with Russ, we can joke with Russ, he can joke with us, and it really kind of creates a sense of, like, yeah, we're here to win, but at the same time, like we're enjoying going to the ballpark every day. Which, like, last year in the Pettit Cup, like, even going up to it, like, we had to win a certain amount of games and another team had to lose a certain amount of games. And, like, I think because we played so carefree that, like, it just kind of happened, Like, on paper, we probably weren't supposed to make it as far as we did, but we, like, in a sense, didn't care. So, like, we played carefree, you know what I mean? And that just, we didn't feel pressure of, oh, we got to win this game, we got to do this. We just went out there and played ball, and I think that was kind of our superpower towards the end, especially.
Yeah, you guys had to win your last 4, and the Wilson Tops had to lose their last 4. And remarkably, the stars aligned. The Sharks got to the playoffs, beat the 2-time first and second half champion Marlins, and then Lexington County Blowfish. It was an incredible run, and there's a lot of the guys from that team on this team. Got Cam Hassert, Lucas Johnson, who's coming back for this podcast later this week.
Is he?
He is.
LJ's going to be good. LJ is one of my favorite teammates I've ever had, man. Like, he was at Wright State as well, and LJ is one of the most just kindest souls that you'll ever meet. And I was really, really excited when I found out that he was coming back here. Because, like you said, we do have a lot of returners, and a lot of, like, returners who were core players last year, which, like, Cam Hassert, Connor Powell, Drew Sturgeon, just a lot of those guys, and, like, which is good because, like, us and those guys know what it takes to kind of get to where we were last year, and I think that the motivation for Russ doing that was kind of instilling, kind of what it takes to do that, to kind of pass down, not even necessarily a winning tradition, but just how we go about, early work or whatever it might be, because that's what's going to in turn into winning ball games. There's a healthy balance, man, between working hard and still realizing that this is a game. And I think that guys sometimes get way too caught up in, their work ethic, because in the game of baseball, there's so many uncontrollable variables that determine your success. Like, you could go 0 for 4 and have 4 absolute barrels, but you just hit them right at a guy, and on paper you batted 0 that day. Or you could have a game where you go 4 for 4 and just hit 4 bloop singles. It's like there's just so much stuff that you have no control over, that if you ride the emotional roller coaster that this game is, it's just going to suck the joy out of it a lot of times. And I think that the real struggle, with especially college guys who want to play at the next level, is finding that balance where, like, I need to push in things that I have the control over, and then I need to surrender in other things. Like, I know that if I do what I need to do pre-game and all that stuff, that the game's just going to take care of itself, and I think that that's a huge part of it that a lot of people neglect, is realizing that this is still a game, and umpires are bad. You're gonna have bad luck, and you can't, like, that's not who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get wrapped up in the success and the failure of the game, because that well will run dry at some point or another. So
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the randomness of the game of baseball, and one thing I wonder is, so with college baseball, okay, you've got a midweek, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then here, it's kind of all erratic. It is more of a professional style schedule, and you also don't have to worry about classes and all the other stuff that comes with college. So how does summer ball just compare to college baseball in general with the routine and all that sort of things?
I mean, like you said, with school ball, like, you play maybe 4 games a week, 5 on a day or a week where you have 2 midweeks, and like, you have school, you have all these other things to worry about. But it's different because you're sleeping in your own bed when you're at home. You know, like, there's a lot of those little things that you don't get in summer ball, but then at the same time, you know what you're getting into with summer ball, so like, you have to embrace it. And I know, like, on days where our travel's a little bit longer and our games don't start till 7, so like, if we play away, sometimes we're not getting home until 2:30 in the morning, and then if we have an away game the next day, then you're getting right back on a bus at 12 o'clock. So like, that is very taxing, not gonna lie to you, but that's where, like, you have to be, like, you have to be responsible and disciplined enough to be like, all right, like, I need to make sure I'm getting my sleep. I need to make sure that I'm drinking water, like, little stuff like that. Like, we're all college age kids. We're not gonna be on a crazy, diet a lot of times. Like, we're gonna eat. Like, I love cookout. Not gonna lie to you, I eat cookout a lot. But that's where it's like, you got to make sure that you're doing other things to kind of, like, balance that out. And I know that sleep's a big one. Like, I've always had kind of a hard time sleeping, but when you know that, man, I gotta, on a perfect night tonight, I'm getting 6.5 hours of sleep because I gotta be up tomorrow, and like, you're gonna make sure you go to bed, and like, that stuff is what, keeps your body healthy, keeps you mentally kind of as sharp as you can be. But the difference is, like, what you're getting into here. It's a pro style, and that's another thing. Guys who want to play at the next level, like, that's what it is. Like, that's the reality of it. The travel's rough, all that kind of stuff, and it's just good practice for it. It's good, like, this is what it's going to be, so do you really want to do this or not,
And yeah, it's preparing you for the next level. And you personally, has there been a realization or something that you discovered within yourself, or just an improvement to your game that you've had since doing stuff with the Sharks?
I wouldn't say it was like an improvement, but I started really focusing on my faith and my relationship with the Lord, and like, that was the biggest, most important thing I've ever done in my life. It was just, I don't know, I can't do anything but give the glory to Him, because like, once you put that relationship first, you kind of see how you don't feel pressure about the outcome of a game. Because like, my identity isn't in me being a good pitcher or me winning baseball games. It's me and Him. And that just takes so much pressure off yourself and makes you be able to go to the baseball field every day and enjoy things for what they are. Enjoy, being able to play baseball as a blessing, being able to enjoy the relationships you make with people. And that's all it was for me. I didn't do anything different. I don't deserve that at all. And I think that just makes me so thankful each and every day.
So would you say being in a different place, like, you kind of had to realize that, and just that helped strengthen your faith? Is that what you're saying?
Well, like, so I gave my life to the Lord on September 6th of 2022, which is the fall before I came here. And so I really took a whole year until I came here, like, to focus on that stuff. And then I have a great community back home with men in my area. Like, we have a Bible study group, and I go to a church that I love. I have a really good foundation and community that kind of keeps me accountable, keeps me like, if I have any questions or I have anything like that, like I have so thankful for the people I have around me. And then I come here to Wilmington where it's like, man, now I'm in a time of isolation. It's like, yeah, my teammates are awesome and stuff, but when it comes to that kind of thing, like now it's time for me to put into practice and see where my roots grew. And that was just like an opportunity for me to like really just be thankful for what had just happened over the change that has happened over the last year. And, you find yourself just like noticing things you never noticed before, like taking time to do things you never done before, and how the fruits of that is just better than anything you could have ever imagined. And that is like, I think my path and my journey, leading up to that point, all set up perfectly to be where I am right now. And like I said, like I get like a loss of words for it, and the only thing that comes to mind is like me being grateful, because you just kind of, you see all the struggles, you see all the uncertainties and all the things you've been through, and how I'm still able to do what I do today. How I'm still able to have a support system like I have. Baseball aside, like I said, my host family, like they accepted me as family, like my family back home, my friends back home. It's just, yeah, I'm just thankful, man, because it's just, I don't know. I don't, like I said, I get a loss for words for it, because it's just so, like, it's just so crazy.
And then, what's it like with your teammates, like, sharing faith with that or discussing that?
It's, like, honestly, man, like, it's easy, because, one, like, I'm not ashamed at all, like, of my faith, and I'll tell people that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior all day long, and not that, like, people are, like, mocking me for it necessarily, but we have a strong group here that are men of faith as well. And so it's awesome, like bus rides, you get the opportunity, like it just comes up and all of a sudden you talk to somebody for an hour about it. And we have a chapel who comes and sees us, I think it's Fridays, I believe, when we play at home. And there's always, how many guys we have on the roster? Like over 40.
When you calculate all the temporary guys, exhibition guys, it's, I don't know how many.
It's quite a few, right? And we always have like 20 at least, that come to the chapel and things. And that just, we pray before every game, and, it's so cool, because you just see as the year goes on how like more and more people trickle out there. And to the guys that you don't get to have that conversation with, it's just little things like that where you get to plant a seed in them. And you just, I don't know, it's just awesome, because that's the stuff that you're going to carry into life. Like, that's the stuff that, like, baseball is going to end for us at some point or another, whether you play 20 years in the big leagues or not. Like, and that's something that, will stay with you forever. And it's just so cool. And I'm really blessed to be able to say that we have as many people on the team that are men of faith as well. And because it's just, I don't know, it's just cool, man, because you get to look at things and you get to see it through a whole different perspective, and you get to be grateful in a whole different way, a whole different world, because then you get to see, 50 kids waiting out at the dugout, after a game for you to sign a ball, and it's like they're watching you, like you're their Babe Ruth right now, and how you carry yourself when you strike out, or how you carry yourself when you give up a nuke or something like that. Like, those people watch those kind of things, and just how you carry yourself and how you deal with these certain things. Like, people watch, and when you get to glorify God through all of that, it's just, it brings a whole new perspective into it, and a whole new, like, appreciation for what you're able to do every day. And it's something I absolutely love. Like, I love to be able to give glory to Him, and it's just, it's awesome.
Yeah, you talk about, I mean, it's an excellent outlet to be modest and humble, and talk about being a role model for the youth. Was there, obviously, there's so many young fans here in Wilmington, the Sharks, their fan base last year, it's one of the smallest ballparks and one of the top teams in terms of attendance. Was there a player for you growing up that you really looked up to?
Man, Uh, my brother. He didn't play baseball, but my older brother Marcus, he was like the first athlete I wanted to be like, and 'cause he played football, he was really good at it, and I think when he was in high school, I was playing like pee wee, and it was just cool because like he'd rush for X amount of yards on Friday night, and then I played on Saturday, and we'd kind of go back and forth as like who could run for the most yards or this, that, and the other, and then it'd spill into wiffle ball games in the yard or anything like that. So I think having him, you know, because he never took it easy on me ever, 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 ever. He would beat me into the ground every single time, and if I ever beat him at anything, it was because I beat him, and that was just like he instilled that competitiveness in me, that grittiness into me, and I just got to watch him play, and he was an exciting player to watch, and like that's who I wanted to be like growing up.
Nice. And did he play athletically anywhere in college or?
No, not in college. He had a baby, so he went to work, and which like even that is like something to look up to. You know what I mean? And he but I just remember him on Friday nights, dude. Like just so many little things. Like he was so fun to watch. And then he would come to my games on Saturday and bring his friends, and it was just cool. You know, like when you got family in the stands, like you got people there watching you. Like it kind of gives you like an extra little gear, and it's just cool. Baseball related though, I loved watching Ken Griffey Jr. Like, 'cause he played for the Reds when I was younger, and you know, who doesn't like Ken Griffey Jr.? You know what I'm saying? He was just an awesome one to watch. I was a big Derek Jeter fan, huge Derek Jeter fan actually, and I liked how he carried himself. Jeter did. He was always like a soft-spoken dude. Like you never heard of him getting any like spats or trouble or anything. He just did what he did and went home. You know, and that's something that says a lot, because he could have been very arrogant if he wanted to be, and he just wasn't.
Yeah, definitely. Couple great players that definitely could look up to. Then you mentioned family. Have you had family come down and come see a Sharks game?
Yeah, I have actually. Which is so cool because like then my family from back home used to come meet my host family, and like that's just cool. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like they're my family, but then my host family is like my family for the summer. You know, they take care of me. They go above and beyond and take care of me, and then it's just so cool to be able to see that kind of stuff, because not a lot of people get to like experience that, I guess. And like I don't know, it was really awesome because my mom and papa came here last summer, and you know they came to watch a Sharks game. They got to meet Mr. Ted and Miss Debbie, and you know it was just neat. Like, 'cause I get to just sit back and kind of watch that happen. I get to kind of hear about, oh, we love them, da 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 da, and that's just awesome for me to hear, because it's like, yeah, like it's cool. I don't know. I like to just kind of sit back and observe a lot of those kind of things, and it's like really neat because it's a really unique experience to be able to see that, and I don't know, it just makes you feel good, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, host families. No college summer baseball league could do it without them. And the Sharks talk about their fan base. Everyone in this organization is just so grateful for that, because it's a significant commitment, and to bring in a stranger really into your home and host them for a whole summer, that's huge. And I mean, all the players are grateful for it, and cost the league, and it's just essential.
It is essential, and like you said, like you're bringing a stranger into your house, and that like could go one or two ways, like on both ends. Like you could have just a player who doesn't really respect a lot of things, or you could have a host family that doesn't either. And every single player I talk to like loves their host family. Their host families are like the host families are at every game. They talk to you after the game. They're actually rooting for you as if you're one of theirs. And that's like, because when you're away from home and you don't have family and stuff, like that's like good. That's that like you said, when you have somebody in the stands looking for you, like it kind of gives you an extra gear, and you got people here who really do support you. I remember my first day back this year. I was walking from the locker room into the field, and a little kid and his family like looked at me and were like, Wes. I was like, I've been here for 30 minutes, you know, like, and these people like remember you and you remember them. And like, that's something that it's like, it's really intimate here because like you said, it's a small stadium, but we have a lot of people who come here day in and day out, and you actually get to know these people. They get to know you, and like, they remember you, you remember them. And that, like, it all comes like full circle when you hear all that and you get to see that. And it's like, that's where I'm like, man, it's so much bigger than 9 innings in between 2 white lines. You know, like, that kid is going to remember me. I'm going to remember him all around, you know, and that's like, that's what it's about. You get to use the platform that you have to be a good example, to, you know, try to have these kids see how you're supposed to do things. And that's where you're supposed to try really hard to do things how you're supposed to do things. And it's just so cool, man. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, Wes, I mean, it really is cool. Just an organization like this, the Wilmington Sharks, just the players, they come in, maybe they'll stay for 1 year, maybe they'll stay for 3, like some players have. And it really is cool. Each player coming from all across the country, they get to see what this organization's about and what this community's about. And it really is something special. And I'd really like to thank you for coming on this podcast. I know it's the first of this, so it's kind of, you don't know what to expect, and it's been a lot of fun.
Dude, thanks for having me. This was awesome, man. And like, LJ coming on here, like, Boston said, I'm good for this. LJ is gonna be like, you can't talk to LJ without either him smiling or you smiling because he's smiling. Like, that kid is just such a light and such a bubble to be around. Like, he literally loves everything for what it is, and like, can find the light in the darkest little situations. And like, yeah, LJ is somebody you want to be around, and I think that he has a lot of really neat perspective on life, on things, and I look forward to listening to that episode because you and him are going to have so much fun, dude. Like I said, he's one of my favorite teammates I've ever had, and he's a special one for sure.
Well, it's been a special interview with you as well, and once again, thank you. And that's episode 1 of From the Tales of the Shark Tank with Wes Earles.
Thanks for having me.